But part of the goal of all of this discipleship is, can I first engage your right brain so that you're always ready to receive and bring transformation in your life? That is right brain discipleship. Left brain, cram as much information as possible. It's like, yeah, maybe a little bit of prayer, right?
Yeah.
Really, this is not even your situation. You're just kind of, oh yeah, you're right. And you're a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
You're right.
I feel like, I can relate with you.
Yeah, right?
What's up, guys? My name is Max, and this is YMEA with our 10:02 podcast based on Luke 10:02, where Jesus says, the harvest is ready, but the workers are few. And so we're here to change that. We're here to inspire and to equip you to go wherever He calls you to go and to serve Him. So grab a cup of tea or coffee, lean back, and enjoy.
Hello. Welcome, YMEA,
Nice. Okay.
to the YMEA podcast.
Whoa. Do you want to read as a book or like want to read a bit of the Bible?
Today we're talking about right brain discipleship.
Yeah,
Learn how to enjoy sadness, anger, and fear to find relational joy.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 1.
Is this from Dr. Kola and is his next book?
I'm literally just reading a book out here. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, Right Brain Discipleship. Welcome back, guys, to 10:02. Welcome, Kola. Thanks so much for coming here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's been a year when you were here the last time.
Well, that
right?
feels crazy, yeah.
Yeah. It's been so fast, right? Like, I feel like once you're on YM, life just goes like double. Like, the time just goes double as fast over.
Yeah, it feels like that. And I'm catching up to you. Catching up to you right now.
I'm the forerunner. I surrendered my hair fully already.
It's pioneering.
Yeah. It's a pioneering edge. When you're on this like pioneering edge, this is what one of the things you have to sacrifice, right?
So right, yeah. That's what it means to be a leader.
Oh man. Probably every leader in the Bible was also bald, like Moses, and so probably as well. Right?
I mean, we know Elisha was and released some she-bears. So.
Right, and like we hold on to that, to this calling that he had. Hey, super cool, Kola. I realized we didn't pray, so let's just pray quick. Let's do it. Thank you, Jesus, for this episode. Thank you, God, for everyone who's listening. And let's just pray, Holy Spirit, that you guide this conversation and that you let truth really break through and that whoever is listening can receive this truth and that you who are listening can really be inspired, equipped, and set free by this truth and that it will help you in your walk with Jesus and it will help you in your walk of your calling. And let's pray for fun and for a good time, right? In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Awesome. Kola, good to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm teaching in the DBS this week, and I'm refreshed. I'm renewed. This space, love this space. Young, excited for missions, excited for the gospel, whatever it takes. Love the DNA here. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Thanks. Don't like brag too much about like our base, right?
YMEA is the inspiration for the yeah. No, it's good though.
Thanks. We appreciate the compliments.
No, I'm just inspired every time I'm here. Yeah.
Thank you. For those who don't know you, just maybe introduce yourself. I mean, you mentioned already like your name, right? And that you're from Taiwan, but give just a little brief history, right?
Yeah. So my name's Kola Aina I've been serving in the base in Taipei since 2011. I did my DTS and SPS and Titus there. Did a little bit of Chinese. My mom is Taiwanese. My dad is Nigerian. I grew up stateside.
Wow.
It's just a whole mess of different cultures. Good. And right now I serve as we're a leadership team of 3 leading base, and I oversee all of our training. So I'm the director of training on our base, and seeing how I think God has given us in YM some of the best training in the world.
Wow,
some of just the best discipleship Bible schools. University of the Nations, I think, is one of the fact that it's modular, the fact that you can do it for a little bit of time, you go into some ministry, there's a breathing in, breathing out of receiving, learning, coming out, doing it in learning communities. I'm so excited to bring that into our YM bases, but then also bring that into the local church. And so, yeah, dude, I serve as training, and we wanted to focus on local churches in Taiwan. And dude, see a generation of young Taiwanese be excited about the gospel, sent out, see young people and say, I want to do that too, and then give them the opportunity and the place to do that. So that's what I do in YM Taipei. It's amazing. We have an amazing team there, amazing staff. Yeah, it's what a privilege.
Come on. How is the Christian situation in Taipei? Yeah.
It's about 5% Christian.
Okay.
But Taipei, its most populous city, is roughly 10.
Okay,
So
nice.
really, the most resourceful place in Taiwan is Taipei
Yeah.
for Christians, and so it's a place where more and more churches are starting to say, yeah, we are not the missions field anymore. We want to be the sending field. We want to be in that place where, yeah, we still have a lot of work to do. Still 90% of the people here, but our churches are growing, they're thriving. But we want to be a place where we want to have missionaries sent out. And so for us, we're super excited because it's like, hey, a lot of churches had that feeling the last 5 years, but they're like, how do we do it? And we're like, we're literally young. We're literally young people on mission. It's literally what we love to do. So there's been so much more partnership opportunity with churches, and then also churches just leading the way with reaching other people. It is a really exciting time in Taiwan because, yeah, we're moving from being the mission field to now the sending field. And so it's so good.
Wow. How is it with the government and just this like general situation with Christians? Can you be Christian? Can you have open churches? How is that in Taipei, Taiwan?
Taiwan, a lot of Taiwan identity is established in opposite to China.
Okay,
And
interesting.
so where China is, there is not as much religious freedom or none. Taiwan is so open.
Okay,
but also
that's beautiful.
It's beautiful. That has also that's the other side too, where they're like, yeah, just where China is oppressive sexually in Taiwan, it was the first. So it's also it's a very progressive country as well.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it's a spirit of independence, spirit of freedom, spirit of this is not who we are. But for us, it's like there's such an opportunity in there to share the gospel.
Yeah.
And to just speak identity and speak truth into, people that are excited, hurting, broken, all ages. And so, yeah, Taiwan's a great place to be.
Yeah. How, when you say you do training mostly, do you have one specific area of training that you focus on, like Bible teachers, Bible schools, for example, or are you just guys going broad?
So our specialty historically has been Bible training, the SBS. Most people in the world know Taiwan for our SBS.
Yeah.
And so and I'm honest, we have some of the most excellent Bible teachers in the world, but also too, like we also do so much. We receive outreach teams. We send so many outreach teams too. So we do a lot of that first taste experience of the missions. I mean, first, what is missions? What is we have that? It's a package. But then also too, just like, hey, what does your first outreach look like? That kind of thing, right? It's like, what do you need to expect if you're going to be missionaries on the field? Because we do have staff who come, or training staff who are some of the best in the world, but we also have staff who are pioneers in different countries, pioneered new locations, pioneered in cultures that were not their own. Yeah. And so also kind of that, what does the first step of missions look like? What is the next step? What does it mean to get into the missions field? So the process from the beginning of mobilizing into sending, training for all of that. And so kind of just wanting to say, hey, church, no matter where you are, there is someone or a team of people who can help guide you in that next step. Whether it be with working in a while, whether it be with not, we're excited for the body of Christ to just take charge, take hold of this great commission. So yeah, I mean, our training is like, for me, it's like I came up in the Bible schools and I love that. But then also saying, yeah, it's got a missional heart in that as well. Studying the Bible should give you a missional heart for the nation. That's why I joined YWAM. In my SBS, the book of Acts, saying, yeah, God's heart is Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, ends of the earth. The Holy Spirit empowers you to do that. The book of Acts, it is just guiding to death. No rulers, authorities, persecution, shipwreck, Paul being bitten by a snake. Nothing could stop him from going forward. Yeah. And for me, that's where I got my call. And so for me, even as I teach the Bible, it's like, yeah, teach the Bible and get a heart for God for missions. So it's like, that's primary. It's a lot of Bible stuff. But honestly, it's like there's member care because we have people who just do member care, long-term support, sustainability for missionaries, not just their emotional needs and counseling stuff, but also like, how do churches support missionaries? How do missionaries support money? How do we think about retirement? How do we understand? How do we have a healthy life on the field, preparation in the middle of it, aftercare, all that kind of stuff. So we are just even as we've gotten smaller over the years, just a big resource place for churches to just say, whatever you need there. on this journey for missions. And also we have SOM, SOFM. It's just like we just
It's broad. It's more broad, right? Yeah.
Whatever it takes for you to get into missions and ministry or whatever, we want to support you on that.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Awesome. And I mean, the title today is Right Brain Discipleship, right? Which is a very interesting topic, and we have a lot of cool topics to cover. We just talked before over lunch already about many things. I made some notes because there are some really good things that you have some really good wisdom, and I'm very excited to go into it. But maybe just, what is right brain discipleship? It sounds like a book title. Maybe you write a book about it one day.
Okay, actually, a book that this comes from and a teaching that I've heard, a lot of this is based on that. Yeah. It's called The Other Half of the Church.
Okay.
And so the idea is that there's this pastor who was running discipleship programs in his church for years and years and years. And he said some people got it and some people just really didn't. But he's like, I'm doing the same material. What's the difference? So in his exploration for why does discipleship really work for some people and sometimes it really doesn't, he ran into a brain scientist. And these two, the pastor and the brain scientist, wrote this book together, just exploring, using the science of the brain, what is effective discipleship? And the idea comes from when there are transformative movements. For example, a lot of college ministries like that. DTS can often be like that for people. When there are these transformative movements, why are they so transformative? And why is it that, like, when people get together in college ministry or DTS, there's so much revelation, transformation, just your life feels different, and then you go back home, nothing happens. Why is it like that? Why is it that in college there's been this community? It's like there's this community built in, there's all this time you spent together, and then suddenly you go to a church, you try to recreate that in some way, and it just isn't there. And really what they boiled it down to is it right brain or left brain? Okay. And what they mean by that is your left brain, that is in charge of processing information. So information at the speed of how quickly I can write notes, how quickly I can see, how quickly I can understand things. But your right brain is in charge of, let's say, vibes, but feelings, right?
Creativity, right?
Yeah.
It's also right brain.
And it's your subconscious. Yeah. And so it is that thing that what your right brain does is that anytime you walk into a room, anytime you're there, it's asking 12 times a second, who cares about me? Right? Because and
we're so in need of like confirmation.
We are, but it's like we're built for that. It's supposed to be like that. You're supposed to say, who's listening to me? Who cares about me? And what they're saying is, if your right brain is engaged, that is the first layer that opens up left brain receiving. So if your right brain is open, if you're engaged, and what he calls it is emotional joy. If you're experiencing emotional joy, if you're saying someone is there who cares about me, then your left brain is actually much more open to receive information, transformation, letting it all in. But if your right brain isn't, if you walk into a situation, a church, a small group, a ministry group, that you don't see any of that care around you, no matter how good the teaching is, the content is, you don't receive it. Because the first layer of your brain, that subconscious layer, quicker than you can think, faster than your awake consciousness. If that's not engaged, you're not going to learn. But that's why something like college ministry, DTS's work, that's why sometimes we really have, like, when you are speaking with someone, like I've done this a few times. So I've gone through a discipleship program, whether it be a manual, whether it just be reading the book of Mark and asking a few questions, where it's like I'm literally doing the same thing, but for some people it's really working, some people it's not. And what the brain science would say is that they needed to know first that there's relational joy. And what relational joy is, the idea that's best described is when you walk into a room and you make eye contact with someone and their face lights up in delight that you're there. That's relational joy.
Yeah.
That's right. And if you can have that, if you can build in relational joy into a lot of your movement, discipleship, teaching, then you're actually going to start to connect people to whatever you're teaching. So think about it like this, right? I said this in the car, but most churches, they get 3 hours with someone, maybe 2 hours. If you go to a small group, maybe 5. So what do you try to do in that time? Left brain, cram as much information as possible as I can.
Yeah. Teach as much as you can.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit
Right.
of prayer, right?
Yeah.
But what if you started with, and I think about this for my meetings too. What if I started with, hey, I don't know, I'll talk about this in terms of worship context. So many times where they tell you in worship and in a lot of manual books, they say, start your worship with a high song, right? Song that's energetic, get them engaged. Come on, tell them it's good, right? But sometimes I'm going to church and I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling sad. Maybe I got into an argument with my wife. That's real. That happens. Actually happened quite a bit. I mean, some of that might be spiritual warfare too, but it's like sometimes there's a lot of stress before stuff like that. Before I even go lead worship.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm coming with broken. Maybe someone in my family is hurt. Maybe someone just died. Now, as you start by saying, the joy of the Lord is our strength. Come on, everybody, raise your hands. You know what you've done? Turn me off immediately. Everything else that you've said, I'm not hearing. But what if we started with, hey, I'm not sure where you're coming in today. Can you see the face of Jesus shining his light upon you wherever you are accepting? Your emotions, your frustrations, and can we bring that to the Lord and say, "Joy, God, there's still joy in there. Come on, church." You know what I mean? It's like,
okay, yeah. Just right now, I could feel like it. You met me more on a place where I probably am right now, even if I'm maybe not that broken or so. It still felt more relatable than the first one, because the first one, it feels kind of like a train who just like leaves, and I'm like trying to like jump on it. The second one was the train stops for me and then takes off.
Yeah. And it's just that. First, I mean, as a big picture, we can get into a little bit more detail, but it's that first that picture of connection.
Yeah.
Care. This person cares about me. Think about like the most powerful speakers that you knew. A lot of them is like, yeah, great content, but a lot of it was they engaged with me. Even on a platform, they engaged with me.
Yeah.
The best small groups you've ever been a part of. What was it like? Well, when you went in there, everyone was like, I know you and I accept you no matter what you've been through this week. And that allows your brain to open up, to engage, to be there, so that whatever information is coming can not only be received in my brain, but come into my life and bring transformation.
So it's really this compassion that activates the right brain side, that connects this right brain side and opens it up more, and it helps you easier to receive whatever this person then has to say.
Because what happens, the way that your right brain works is that it works based on emotion, right? And so there are kind of two fuel sources that you can have for your brain. One of them is fear, and one of them is relational joy. Now think about fear. If a bear walked into the room, what happens? Adrenaline, get out of here as quickly as possible. And then you get out, right? You need that fear for the adrenaline, right?
Yeah.
But that's not a sustainable source. But sometimes a lot of our discipleship, our teaching is fear-based.
Yeah.
Right? And what is that going to do? It's going to burn you out, because that's meant to get out quickly, fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
Relational joy is like a long-lasting candle. It'll burn and burn and burn and last the race, right? And so the goal of right brain discipleship is to say, can I bring relational joy in everything that it means to be a person, in particular my negative emotions, right? Because what happens sometimes is, the way that the book describes it is, it's almost like a circuit breaker in your house. If there's too much electricity, it shuts down.
Yeah.
So if there's emotion that I can't handle, my right brain shuts down.
Which could be like all the negative emotions, right? Like fear, stress, worry,
sadness, anger, right?
Frustration,
disappointments, right? And so what's supposed to happen is, as a child, as you're a little kid, your parents should connect those negative emotions into relational joy. A kid who falls down in front of everyone in their class or at a school play, or just on the street in the mall. How does a parent react to that? I'm from Chinese communities. They say, come on, what are you doing? Get up. Oh, it's so embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
What happened there? Shame.
And then your right brain shuts off.
And shut off. And if they've never connected that to joy, Because a good parent says, hey, you feel hurt. It's okay, but I'm with you. No problem. You're fine. And that builds stronger connections into joy.
Yeah.
And you know what that means next time they have that experience of shame? It's a little bit stronger than it was before. And stronger. And what's supposed to happen is the full range of your emotions, your anger, your sadness, your disappointment, all these things are supposed to be strong and built. That's what it means to be emotionally resilient. But I lived in a generation where my parents put us in front of a TV. And now we're all growing up in a generation where a bunch of kids, they grew up in front of their phone.
Yeah.
There's no relational joy. In fact, it steals relational joy. You said all these people look perfect and I don't, right? And so what that means is that we're growing up in a generation that is a little emotionally weaker because there hasn't been as many people who come to us and have connected all these emotions. But even a perfect parent can only connect to relational joy as far as they've gone.
Yeah.
For example, my mom, just anytime something disappointing comes up or some kind of correction, I see her brain shuts off. Her relational circuits turn off. So for me, I've lived so much of my life trying to avoid shame. And really, what I've been needing is someone to say, hey, you feel shame, and I care about you, and I'm with you.
And it's okay. It's okay to feel that.
Yes. Yeah. And what that's doing, because every time I feel shame, immediately, I get into fight or flight, right? I get scared. I get... and then I suddenly can't hear. Think about discipleship moments, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to bring up correction and someone feels shame immediately, they can't hear. So if someone is in their sadness, their brain turns off, discipleship, nothing's going to happen. And part of the goal of discipleship is, the information, and that information will bring transformation in your heart. But part of the goal of all of this discipleship is, can I first engage your right brain to let you know that I'm there, I care for you? And part of what we need to do for ourselves, but our generation and the next generation, is build emotionally resilient people that their right brain is always on. And if your right brain is always on, or if I can identify when it's shutting off, help you turn it back on, so that you're always ready to receive and bring transformation in your life. That is right brain discipleship.
Wow, that's a lot, but it makes so much sense, because when you look at Jesus, like, even when he corrected, he did it in love. Yeah. He never did it in a shaming way. He never did it in a downgrading way, but he always did it in an uplifting way. And when I look at my leaders, when we look at good leaders, when we look at Lauren, even when something happened, something went wrong, he never made that person down. But I think what we always try is what the culture here is, what we always try is we try to lift up. Yeah. We try to encourage. And even when I make a mistake, I realize my leaders, very rare, they say something negative. Very often they say, hey, thanks for putting the effort in, thanks for putting the work in. And I think that's a way, because that's my next question, how do we redeem that? How does someone who feels, who has this emotional barriers, this, when shame comes, your right brain shuts off, how do we redeem this?
Yes. I think that there is one of the tools that the book will talk about, and that I've been using all the time. It's called VCR. It's called validate plus comfort equals repatterning. Okay. So let me explain. Right? So what we're trying to do is repattern our brains, is to build strong connections from our negative emotions to relational joy. And how do you do that? You can't do that on your own.
Yeah.
You need outside input. Now, a mature Christian will say, Jesus, you can give me that. And I'm gonna be talking about Psalms tomorrow. The beautiful thing about Psalms is, here's all my emotion, Lord, frustration, anger of my enemy. I feel depressed. Feels like my enemies are surrounded. Validating your emotions. Your emotions are saying, I can identify, here's what it is.
Yeah. And I accept them. It's not I try to push them away, but I accept them, right?
And then I connect it to something greater. And God, you are my strength. You are my fortress. And that's how you build emotional health. The first thing that we do for each other is validate, which is not to say it's right, but simply to say, when you see someone who's emotional, You can identify what that emotion is
Hmm.
and not make a judgment call about it.
Yeah.
Is it good? Is it bad? It's not. If someone, for example, if someone's grieving, right? Their mother just passed away. You don't say, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Get over it, right? No, it's like, can you first identify simply what they're feeling?
Hmm.
Hey, it's hard. Yeah, dude, it's your mom. It's sad. That's the first part, because sometimes we don't do that as Christians.
Oh, we are so good on pulling out our Bible and throwing verses at people
I
and saying,
know.
right?
So,
As
so that first level of just basic empathy, which sounds so simple, but you know what I find myself doing in my marriage and sometimes in ministry a lot? Problem solving.
oh, we do like automatically, because I think the system we're living in, the world we're living in, trains us to not focus on our emotions, but left side information, problem solving, rational solving and thinking.
I feel frustrated that this person didn't come to ministry on time. I feel frustrated this and this and that. What am I going to try to do? Talk to the person, solve their problem. But the first thing that we ought to do is just validate that emotion. Yeah, it is frustrating when someone just dropped the ball on you and you have to pick it up. That is really frustrating. And it's just like, you hear me say that and immediately, this is not even your situation. You're just kind of, oh yeah, you're right. And you're a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
You're right.
I feel like, I can relate with you.
Yeah, right. And because you know what that is? That's engaging your right brain. That's me saying, I care about whatever you're feeling. And so that's validating. And it doesn't mean whatever feeling you have is truth. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying in this generation. But simply saying to them, I get what you're feeling. Even if I don't totally understand, I get it. I get it a little bit. And part of that is my posture. Part of that is my voice. It's a lot of the intangible stuff, but it's when you start with validating, it puts yourself in this posture of, I'm going to open up myself to you. The second thing is called comforting. So validation, comforting equals repatterning. And comforting is like, can you take this emotion and ground it or bring it into something even greater? So for example, someone whose mom just passed away. That's really hard. It feels sad. Maybe feel a little bit hopeless. I'm sorry. If you need anything, I'm here with you. Thank you for sharing. What did I ground that in? I ground that in us. We're here together. On a very basic level, if you don't know what to say about their things, you can just say, thank you so much for sharing with me. That's why that's so effective. When someone says, that's really hard, thank you for sharing it with me, you're grounding that in a relationship, something a little bit more than just them. You can ground it in the truth of the gospel, right? And that's where you need to be careful, where you're not saying, don't feel this, but you say, and God understands that too. Or we as a church and a body understand that, or you are so loved. You are so loved in this community, and I know it hurts, and this community aches with you. If you start to ground those things in something a little bit more, you start to build resiliency, right? Because that's relational joy. And the next time something hard comes, you're frustrated, the person didn't come, dude, that is really, really frustrating. I'm not going to try to solve the problem.
Yeah.
That is really, really frustrating.
Just relate. Just identify.
Dude, I get what it's like. I've been there. I know how hard it is. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Just that in and of itself is, you recognize my emotion. My right brain is open. You've related to me. You found joy in me. You didn't reject me. That's the king. I'm feeling this emotion and you didn't reject. So now the next thing I can say is, what can we do next time? And it's gonna mean something to you and work in your left brain, because I first took the time to say, I get it, I understand, connect with you. So now as we think about implementing something for next time, your emotions were validated and you're willing to listen. If you think about like the sandwich thing, talking about the compliment, the criticism sandwich, right? Where people are like, say something nice, then say a criticism, then say something nice, right?
Back to criticism a bit.
My wife, she's like, I hate that. Because it's like, some people, it's like, you say something nice just to say something mean, and then you just say something nice, right?
Go around, like, let it seem to be more comfortable.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I really love your ministry.
But
okay. And it feels like, here's really what I want to say. But the idea behind that actually is VCR.
Oh, so would you say this like sandwich actually a good technique?
Yes. But the thing is that people use that just to say, to be rote, right? To just say, I say something nice so I can get to the critical thing.
Yeah.
But no. The reason why that's supposed to work in the original heart of that is, I engage with you first. Right brain. I want to connect with you first. I want to have a genuine, real moment of connection. I like you. I care about you. You've been working hard. I feel what you're feeling. I'm engaged. I do want to bring this thing up though, right? And that's a different than, hey, you're really, really good. Okay, now I don't want to talk bad about you, right?
Yeah.
And just realizing it's like, I mean, people do this intuitively. People VCR, people engage with their emotions intuitively. And it's like, I used to do that a lot, and I still do that a lot. I think like in a lot of personality assessments, relationship is my primary gift.
No.
And a lot of times it felt like intangible. I didn't really know what that meant to be relational, but it just felt very relational. But now, here's a scientific brain thing understanding of the emotional part. The reason why you connect with people first is because it keeps your right brain on. And if your right brain is on, if you're in a place you feel safe, where people's safety comes from, a place you feel safe validating their emotions, then you can get to some of the hard stuff. And it's not saying don't teach seriously. It's not saying forget the discipleship manuals. It's not surrendering any of that stuff. But it's first saying none of that stuff hits home unless your right brain is open. And realizing to connect all of your emotions into relational joy. And I realized that even as a parent, this is about discipleship too, but as a parent,
which is also discipleship.
It's a form of discipleship.
Yeah.
That is like, yeah, I didn't know how to deal with anger actually either. When my kids felt angry, I just got angrier than they did. Just shoved down their anger. Why? Because no one taught me how to. No one accepted me when I was angry. No one accepted me when I was sad. And I realized it's like all these things that I probably should have learned when I was young, I just didn't know how to do. So I couldn't accept my kids. And so when I first started hearing this, when my kids got upset, my first reaction, oh, you're mad? I'm going to get even more mad than you. Shove it down. But actually, and it's like, what happens is escalation. We all blow up and I say, what are you doing? Right? Rather than just saying, yeah, you do feel mad. You feel upset. And sometimes it's silly stuff, right? It's silly, but it's real for them. My youngest, she gets really disappointed when she can't eat sweets. And what I would say is like, come on, it's not, I would problem solve. You shouldn't eat sweets because it's bad for your teeth, bad for your health, not good for you. It's spending money that we don't have, right? And she would just get more and more sad and frustrated and just blow up, right? And what I started to do was validate her emotions. Just say, when I say no to you about sweets, you feel really sad, don't you? Because you really, really want it, and it's so delicious. I hear that. It's really hard. And you know what happens? She calms down. And when I saw that for the first time, I was like, whoa.
That actually worked.
Whoa, it worked, yeah. Because we used to have like 30-minute arguments about this. And she'd go to her room crying, and I'd be like, I'm a terrible dad. And the first time I did that, she was disappointed. But she was like, oh, you actually listened to me. You heard me. And I can accept the situation. And it's like, wow, actually nothing changed except I listened. And then I realized the next time that happened, I did the same thing. She calmed down. And the next time she wasn't as upset. And realize it's like, as you continue to accept and listen and validate, you're repatterning their brain and you're building resiliency, emotional resiliency in them so that when they feel disappointment next time, it doesn't crush them.
Yeah.
That's what we do as disciples. That's what we do as disciplers.
And that's what Jesus did with his disciples.
Absolutely.
Like he corrected them, but he first of all uplifted them much more. Yeah. But when he corrected them, he always did it in a loving way. He always did it in a good way. Yeah. And I think what you just say, like the one part is the discipleship. It's either how we engage with our disciples that we have when you're one-on-one, when you're a leader. That's how you learn. But the other side is, which I think is so interesting when you just say that, how do we think about in that term how God is dealing with us?
Yes.
You know, how do we think of the good father, the good shepherd, our friend, our leader? How do we think he reacts when we make a mistake? Because how many people are trapped in this fear of like, oh, God is angry at me, God is mad at me.
Which is fear.
Right, which is
fear motivation.
But that can't be God, because God is good and fear doesn't come from God.
Yeah.
So God will never respond in a way that we are getting feared and scared. We will build up fear of the Lord, but that's different from fear,
it's a different
right?
kind of fear, yeah.
And so like, how can we learn and bring this in the context of the relationship we have with God?
You know what? One of the things I've done this in class a few times, and I'm starting to do this on base a lot.
Yeah.
I'll just start with this idea: close your eyes and just imagine Jesus' face looking at you. What does his face look like? It's not condemning. It's not frustrated. It actually dealt with all that on the cross.
Yeah.
Jesus' face shining upon you is a face that says, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy. What I'm happy about is not the perfect version of you. It's not the, I'm doing the best I can version. It is you in your weakness and sadness. And the mature Christian can say, I see the face of Jesus in my sadness, and it's building emotional resiliency in me. I see that's why the Psalms are so powerful. The Psalms are just all of my emotions, and God says, yep.
I feel you.
Yep. I'm here. And I am your fortress, and I'm with you, and I didn't abandon you. Imprecatory Psalms, and which are just Psalms that are just primarily cursing. There's no redemptive part. God, destroy the head of my enemies. Break their heads against the rocks. Get them out of my life. Because usually it's like in those Psalms that are crying out, at the end they say, God, you are good, I'm faithful, I trust you. Imprecatory Psalms are just straight cursing. And those are there because sometimes that's us. Sometimes I'm in that place. And the reason that they're in the Bible is because Jesus accepts that. God accepts that. And he doesn't, and it's like he doesn't reject that emotion in us. And even when we have that emotion, we can still say, Jesus, now what does your face look like? And it's not full of disappointment at me.
And it's never, that's the thing. It's never.
Yeah.
But so often we think it is, because we're so hard on ourselves, right? I mean, it starts in us, right? Like, we're so hard on ourselves, and we condemn us, and we condemn what we did, and we think so often about, oh, what I did and what I said yesterday, and what did other people think about that? And then our brain is just so focused and just goes around all those negative, fearful thoughts. Yeah. While God is actually there with his open arms, and he's like Matthew 11, come to me, those who are under stress, and I will give you rest. Yeah. And I think it's beautiful when he says in the following words, like that's verse 28, and then 29, he says, come to me and I will teach you. Yeah. And I think that's something where we can grow so much, and where I think that comes in so much, that we learn who is Jesus actually, that he teaches us how he reacts. Because when we learn how he reacts, we can learn how we react, right?
That's right. That's
and then he
right.
says, like, if you want to follow me, you need to know me in the first place. If we don't know God, then we can share the gospel, but we will miss Jesus in certain points. We will share him in a wrong way, or we will not share him fully in a way that actually truth can change the person's heart. And when we know truth will set us free.
So our discipleship is, can I connect your emotion? Now, because, again, it's important. Can I connect your emotions to Jesus and his acceptance of you? Because it's like, I think what happens often is just program, material, life, get better. Because we live in a culture where it just says get better.
And we have to, right? Like,
and we
cannot just like chill and relax and feed up and say like, well, God will do it, right? Because we're not made, that's not our identity. We're made to improve, but the way how the world teaches us comes from that's your identity then. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Or pick yourself up by your bootstraps. And the reality is, like, the brain science says you can't do it on your own. You do need outside help, whether that be Jesus or for me, right? Like, shame. I could never, ever do shame. I was so embarrassed. It happened so easily, right? And it's like, one of the things that they say in like counseling, psychology, is that if you start to become more in tune with your body, there's a physical reaction your body feels when you're going through various emotions. If you start to just feel your body. And so for me, shame, I started to feel tightness in my heart, right? And I felt that really, really often. And I try to avoid it. But I realized it's like, when I heard I can't do it on my own, it's like, sometimes I feel shame to come into Christ. So what I started to do in the beginning is, I tell my wife went through this too, and I tell her, hey, when you said this thing, I'm just feeling a bunch of shame. Can you VCR me right now? And you know what she does? She just says, you're feeling shame, probably because of this. Maybe you said this, you're feeling this way. But I love you. And you know what else? Jesus really loves you too. He doesn't feel that way about you. And that's all she needs to say. And the fight or flight mode that I'm in, the fear that I'm in, calms down.
Yeah.
And has been building that. And that's a really important part of discipleship. Because I'd also say this too, that we do as much as we can solve our solvable problems, right? We want to work through things. Now, solve our solvable problems through relational joy and all that, but actually do something about that, right? But I went to a marriage conference, and they said 60 to 70% of your problems in marriage are unsolvable.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
Well, I'm not married, so I never thought about that.
Okay. But I was thinking about this for organizations too. Can I, as a leader, deal with the fact that a lot of my staff don't have enough money? I personally can try to do steps, but I can't solve that issue right now. Can I change the way that churches perceive my people? Well, we can do a little bit, but I can't solve that issue right now.
Yeah.
We can work towards that. That's a long-term goal, but can I solve this issue right now? No. It's like there are some things that are part of our communities that are very hard.
Yeah.
And honestly, that don't have solutions to them, right?
Yeah.
In my marriage, that's true. But you know what? The sign of health in there is not to solve your issues, because a lot of them can't be solved. A sign of health is, like my daughter, when she can't get candy. How do I solve that issue? I can't. You're going to want candy, and I'm not going to give candy to you.
Yeah.
But honestly, what matters is not if I give candy or not. What matters to her is, did I connect with you emotionally? Did I take your disappointment, your frustration? And sometimes as what I realized I did wrong is I give her a lot of shame. I can't believe you want candy. Can I take even that shame and say, yep, I'm here with you?
Yeah.
Because what matters more is not solving the issue. What matters more is just presence. What matters more is relationship, that I accept you even in that too. That's true for marriage. Because, it's like so many of the issues that we have in life, we say, God, why can you be here? And what does Jesus say?
I'm always there with you.
I'm always there with you, right?
Yeah.
He promises us a hard life, but what does he promise us? Not that we'll get out of our issues, not that he'll solve all of our problems. What does he promise us? Relational joy. No matter what you're facing, he will be there with us.
Yeah.
And what I imagine is joyfully smiling, excited, engaging, that if I'm mad or if I'm disappointed or I feel despair, he says, I'm with you and I love you. Come to me. And that is the heart of discipleship. That's that first place we have. Every person needs to start with discipleship. And when we start doing, because when we start thinking about it that way, the way that we start a class changes. The way that we start a meeting starts changing. The way that we start doing worship starts changing. The way that we start to engage, whether a one-on-one or a small group, starts changing a little bit. It doesn't have to change significantly. But I mean, next time, I challenged someone this yesterday. Next time someone shares any emotion with you, see how other people are responding. See how anyone else is responding. Dude, I've noticed this so many times when people are sharing an emotion, the first thing that someone gives is criticism or some feedback or problem solving. And how little and how not often people are validating those emotions first. When we start doing that, our discipleship radically changes. It comes, yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the name of the game, to be more like Jesus
the goal,
anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, in YM, for example, that's the goal, right? That's why we're here. We're here because we're called. We're here because we want to become more like Jesus. But then to hear that and to actually live like that, we are still even YM. We're so trimmed on problem solving, and I mean, like it starts in our heart, right? Like how do we think about this relationship with God? And I think like how we treat the relationship with God is a perfect reflection how we treat every other relationship around us.
Yeah.
And I think what you said, I really love what you said, that when you feel shame, you go to your wife and you say, hey, can you VCR me?
Yeah.
VCR
Say
me.
again, VCR me.
That's the same we can do with Jesus, right?
Yes.
We can go to
Yes.
Jesus and say, hey, and I love that since there's no religion anymore, but there's freedom. Like I think I will go to Jesus later and I'm say, hey, Jesus, can you VCR me, right? And I think then we can come into this freedom and understand, hey, yes, when there's shame and there might be correction coming at you, but it will be so different when you first understand the heart of God, when you first find comfort in the character of God.
Yes.
And then you go through that, and then you accept what he has to say.
Yeah.
And even if it's no correction, even if it's just dealing with shame, dealing with anxiety, fear, yeah. He is this perfect mentor that we can learn from. And how often do we try to just go there and say, God, help me so I can move on quicker? And he's like, son, I just want to be with you.
Yes.
I just want to get to know you.
To see God and that's the thing. It's like just realizing that all of my emotions, the entirety of my being, not just positive, particularly not just positive. So much of the Bible is not positive, and God responds. That, right? I mean, I was thinking about this too, even in like Leviticus, for example, right?
Your favorite book, right?
My favorite. Yeah, one of my favorite. Yeah, absolutely.
We should have another episode of just Leviticus, right?
I would love to. Maybe next time. Burnt offering, right? The burnt offerings for sin. Which, dude, honestly, probably a little shameful. Because you don't come to bring a burnt offering just for fun. You do it because of sin. Yeah. Same thing with like a guilt offering. But right after that offering, there's something called a grain offering. And the grain offering is almost always after a burnt offering. And it's like a burnt offering is like gross, it's terrible, it's like you have to cut the bull's neck and it bleeds out and you sprinkle the blood and then you burn the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's terrible, man. And it's like, if I'm honest, it's like, yeah, your shame. That's what it is. It's your sin. You shouldn't feel good about it. But then but then what happens is a grain offering, and a grain offering is a meal shared between the person and God. Wow. And that's acceptance into that, right? Yeah. So it's like, here's immense shame. I got to come, and the whole community sees me, all the priests see me. But it's what I need to do to deal with my sin. But you know what God says? Eat a meal with me. Eat a meal with me.
And not before the shame comes, to comfort him before the shame, and then like, but now you have to like repent, but it's like, go through it, and God's already waiting for you to just embrace again what you lost through sin, which is relationship.
Yes. There's another part of the right brain thing that they talk about dealing with trauma. Because that's a part of discipleship too. Yeah. That's a hard part. Because sometimes what happens is you have bad experiences. You've been hurt. Something happened to you. That is just, it's a negative emotion that's affecting you for a long time, or affecting you disproportionately. Yeah. And there are minor traumas, there are major traumas, but it's trauma, right? And so one of the things that it talks about, layers of the right brain, right? And the first layer of the right brain, it talks about this idea. Does it connect with me? Does it relate to me? Is it literally related to me, right? Yeah. I mean, an example is like, I see a car pass by. Does it relate to me? No. Then it doesn't matter. Yeah. Then it's none of the information about that matters, right? But maybe it does pass by and it does matter to me. Yeah. Right? That's kind of first layer, right? Second layer is there's kind of three voices. One of them says good. One of them says bad. One of them says scary. Right? Okay. So does it relate to me? If it does relate to me, in the one of the pictures was a cat. Okay, cat's cute, fluffy, adorable, good. There's a good part of your brain. Good. That's what your brain is saying subconsciously. Maybe you have allergies though. So there's that good, but also not so good, bad, right? Because I'm allergic to it. Don't let it get close. But then maybe you've had a bad experience with like a street cat that really scratched you up and you need to go to the hospital, get stitches. So now there's this part of your brain that says scary. But so there's a little bit of good firing, there's a little bit of bad allergies, but then it's scary. It's all scary, right? So that's that second layer of your brain. And then at the third layer, it says, now does anyone care about me?
And about what I feel.
Yeah, just about me in general, about my feelings, right? Because those feelings are going to come up. So it's like, does it matter to me? What are the subconscious, because of my memories or whatever, feelings? And then does anyone care about me? Now, what if we just use a cat in this example, right? If you said I had a cat that scratched me, I needed to go to the hospital. Let's say a little bit of trauma, right? Because it hurts.
Yeah.
That third level of your brain is what people can enter into and help with, right? So if you get scratched by a cat and your parent says, and you see a cat say, "Oh, I'm a little bit afraid," it says, "What are you what are you doing? It's just a cat. It's so cute. What are you doing?" Turned off immediately. Nothing can enter in. Maybe you even produce more shame.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe you see a cat and you're a little bit scared. There's no one around. Then you're kind of trapped in that fear. Right? But if you see a cat, it's really scary to you. But there's someone who says, "Hey, you're feeling actually pretty scared about that right now. Hey, are you doing okay?" Now someone enters into your brain. And then that fourth layer are what are the voices that you're listening to?
Okay, yeah.
Right? Who are the voices? Who are the people that are going to be influential to you? Because the people that speak to you, that are influential to you, that care about you, that's how it enters your left brain. Okay. That's how it enters your left brain. So what can happen is if you're scared, there's a cat, scary, showing up a lot, scary, trauma response, but someone is coming into you and says, "I care about you, you are feeling scared. It's okay." Now, if they're sitting in that position where they can speak to you, that person can turn down the volume of scary. When they know, when you know they care, when they've shown empathy, when they've accepted your emotion, when you know they value you, they can start turning down the volume of your trauma a little bit. That's actually how counselors work. Christian counselors get in there. Counselors get in there and say, "I'm listening to you. I validate your emotions. I'm repeating back to you, reflective listening, and I can respond to you. And if you listen to me, together when we explore, we can turn down the voice of the trauma. We can turn down the voice of the hurt. It's still going to be there probably a little bit, but it doesn't have to be as scary as you think it is. But that comes from a place of, I was there for you. I'm listening to you. I don't reject your emotions. I'm not saying get strong, get there." I was in a meeting about 2 weeks ago, and kind of an elder in Taiwan was like, "These young kids, they don't need more pampering. They don't need more help. They just need to get tough, get strong, get it, and do it." And for me, I'm like, hey, you're not going to build resilient people like that.
Yeah.
That's not how resilient people are built.
You build robots like that, but not actual humans.
Here's what I know. In a pioneering generation where there was no one to help them, they were like that. It was sink or swim. Right? And the people that swam, like you get thrown into the pool. If you can swim, amazing. If you can't, you're going to sink, right? And that pioneering generation, the only thing that they could do is figure out how to swim, support each other through that. That's fine. But as we move down the ladder of discipleship, I'm not in this game to see a bunch of people who are younger than me sink. But how do we build strong, resilient people? It's not by throwing them in the ministry, say, "Go do it."
Yeah.
It's by saying, "I'm with you, I'm together. Sometimes you're going to feel sad. Come to me when you feel sad. Sometimes you're going to be frustrated. Come to me when you feel frustrated. You're going to feel extremely disappointed. I get your disappointment, but I'm there for you. I care about you. I'm with you. Let's build strong people together." Because that's what Jesus does. That's how Jesus builds his people. That's how Paul builds his people. Look, it's just the beginning of every one of Paul's letter just says, "I care about you. I so deeply care about you." Right. That's why he starts. Yeah. "I've been praying for you. My heart breaks for you."
Yeah.
That's why he starts that way, because he's opening, they're not using this language, but he's building that connection, right brain connection.
And I believe unintentionally, like he wasn't thinking like, "Hey, how can I VCR, how can I VCR the church of Galatians or so?" But once we reach a point, like that's just Jesus, like that's naturally what happens when you become more like Jesus. And I think, like Jesus didn't have to think about it because he was so driven by compassion that was his only response to move in compassion. So how often do we read in the Gospels that Jesus prayed for people, not because he had to pray for them, but because he was moved by compassion. He was moved by love. He was moved and because he cared about the people and not about the prayer or, I have to do this again. He was moved by it. Right?
Exactly. And so part of our discipleship is actually not putting us in that fourth level of the brain. it's connecting Jesus there. Because you know what? No matter what event you're going through, Jesus, that third level, is going to say, I care about you. I'm in this with you. You're not alone.
Yeah.
And Jesus can be the one who comes into our situations and turn that down a little bit. A lot of Christian prayer ministry and counseling is taking that time and going through that process of, can we bring you back into those hard places and hard times? Experiencing that emotion, and then asking yourself, Jesus, where were you in that? What were you feeling in that? What was your face like in that? Were you crying when I was hurting? Were you hurt when I was hurting? Did you experience that? Were you there? Because he was. And as he's there, then he starts to turn down the level of scary, turn down the level of hurt. And even for us, for a lot of Christians, there's a lot of church hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of YWAM hurt, let's be honest. There's just a lot of hurt all around. And so what we're not trying to do is say, ignore it, get rid of it. It's not important. What we're saying is, those emotions are valuable. Can I connect you with Jesus? And if I can't, can I be so empathetic that I'm in there? And can I also show you how Jesus was in there too? And by doing that, you open up. And then when Jesus is in there, when you read scriptures, you're reading it with new life. When you're hearing messages, you're hearing it with new life, just because Jesus is in there and you're open to it.
Yeah.
Right? So part of our work as disciplers is, can I help you see that Jesus was always there? And if I can do that, then you're going to start to walk in freedom, walk in transformation.
So good.
Yeah.
And I think that is one way how we can actually stand out so much in this world, by coming from that side, from that perspective, from that point of view. Let me have compassion on you, but not for the sake of just having compassion, but let me connect with you emotionally, because so many people are so lost and no one is listening to them. So many people are inwardly depressed, burned out, scary, worried about everything, but no one tries to relate with them.
Yeah.
But everyone tries to solve a problem. Right?
Yeah.
How often do we pray for people and then this person says, oh, I have anxiety, and I'm like, okay, God, I cast out the spirit of fear, right?
I know, right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
My problem solving side is like, come on, good job, Max.
Yeah.
Well, for a good prayer, powerful prayer.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, like, it is good to do that, but I didn't came from this compassionate side. I didn't came from this, let me connect with you in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But someone like, that's what the world needs. That's what people need. That's what people are actually looking for, right?
Yeah.
Because like we said, like our brains, I think it's interesting that our brain says 12 times a second,
yes.
right? I can't even say this 12 times a second.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
Who cares about me? What is it? Who cares about me? What other people think about me?
Who cares about me?
Who cares about me, right?
In this room, in this area where I am, who actually cares?
And that we are built like that is interesting.
Yes.
That's how we are built for community, and that's how we need others. We need Jesus anyways, but we also need other people. We cannot just run a one-man show, not a ministry, and not in church, nowhere, without getting burned out or just losing ourselves because we're not walking in the way how we're actually created. Right? And I think that when we connect this as well with pioneering and, like walking forward, there's one quote I really love from you that you said it last year, and I loved it, and you said it this year again, and I loved it again, is that we're sometimes so scared of taking the wrong step
that's right.
for God in missions, in our calling and our ministry, that we don't move at all. Why? Because we are embarrassed of being in shame, of fear of failure, or whatever it is, which just comes back to, we think God is mad at us, God is angry at us, disobedience leads to disappointment, and then we don't move at all. We just stay here. We better like stay in our comfort zone or on the things we do anyways, without stepping forward. But then we just lose this pioneering edge that we are called to, that YM is called to, but that I think every Christian is in kind of way called to it, and we lose this. We lose this boldness and this radicalness to just go out and just pray for people. Why are we not praying? Because we're scared that either what they think or that it doesn't work, and then what God thinks about us, right? Why do we not share the gospel? Because we think about other people think, right? Why do we not take a new step in ministry? Because we're scared of failure. We have fear, right? And so we lose so much when we're not have the right perspective on how God sees us and
That's
how we can deal with that, right?
Yeah. That's so right. And so it's like, it really does come back. I mean, it's a simple thing. Often it's so simple. And often, I've also just been surprised that you keep bringing it back to the life of Jesus, but how many of these leadership lessons, discipleship lessons, all of these lessons just come back to Jesus.
Yeah.
It's always been about Jesus. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope that framework just is a little bit more understanding, a little bit more of what is Jesus doing? What is Jesus doing? And how did God create us? Because that's how he created our brains, to work best when we're doing it relationally.
That's why one of our values is work in teams, right?
That's right.
And why take that. I used to be very focused on, like, just me, and when someone else is not going my pace and I'm just doing by myself.
Yeah.
What was the result? I felt unhappy. I felt like nothing is really going on. Maybe things were going on, but I just felt like empty inside after a while, because I didn't move in the way how I was created to live.
Yeah. So yeah, right brain discipleship.
That's I love it. What is one, to like wrap it up, what is one message you want to give to the young people, to the people that are watching? One message, one inspiration, something from your heart that you want to tell them.
Young people watching this is your generation, and this is your time. And I've said this a few times in teaching this week, but this is going to be a generation that God does something incredible, amazing now. There have been youth movements popping up throughout history. They've only been kind of regional. But this is the first time that no matter where you go in the world, youth movement, something is bubbling, something is stirring. You talk to Christian leaders from almost anywhere, something is happening. And this is your generation. I'm so excited for you. And one of the things that you have to hold on to is that the most important thing that you need is Jesus. A love and desire for Jesus. He loves who you are. And the thing that matters most to him about us is that we love him. There's going to be miracle stories abounding in this generation. There's going to be more platform and opportunity that you're getting in this generation. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for you. Your generation, not mine anymore. It's your generation. Take up the call. Take up the torch. Go further than we ever did. But know that it was always love and relationship with Jesus. Like we said, right brain, let Jesus get into that place. Not boasting, not ministry strategy, not platform, not fame. Jesus, let him be in that place. The deepest level of your right brain, truth. Let his face shine upon you. Let his face, his joy in you, in the disappointing moments, the frustration, the joy, sadness, be the things that spur you on, because he's going to be looking on you with love and joy. I pray that for all of you who are listening to this, your ministry platform would never be bigger than the depth of your relationship with Jesus. Because the thing that matters is Jesus. Now, I pray for big ministry platforms for you, but I pray there'd be depth of relationship with him. And that you would teach and grow a generation after you to love Jesus and go further than you, because you loved Jesus. That's my word for this generation.
Wow. Thanks, Kola. That was beautiful.
Come on.
Thank you so much, Kola, for hopping on this podcast. It was fun. It was deep. It was very different. I think I never thought I had connected how my brain works so much with following Jesus, but it's so good. Thank you so much for hopping on.
So happy to be here.
And hopefully one day we can talk about Leviticus.
Let's do Leviticus.
Why it's your
the promise
book,
of next year. Yeah.
Be excited, guys. Be excited. Can people find you on Instagram, on Facebook or so? Do you have that?
Yeah.
You're somehow?
I don't remember what my things are. I should know this.
You
YWAM
don't seem
Taipei.
to be very active on this.
Yeah.
But if they want to get in touch with you, we will link your base. You guys have,
Sounds great.
I believe
Yes.
you guys have a website, right?
Yep, we do.
So we put it in the description. We put the book, the other side,
the other half of the church.
other half of the church. We put it in the description. I hope we can find a PDF version. We try to put it down. And beside that, thanks, guys. This was another episode of our 10 and 2 podcast. And this time with Kola. Let us know in the comments how it was for you. Give us some feedback. And that's it. It's a wrap. Woo!